Was spotted embracing her former history teacher during an official engagement in Cornwall. Now, that is, of course, despite Meghan Markle having implied that Kate wasn't a hugger in her documentary. Yes, perhaps she just didn't want to hug you. And the official emblem for the King's coronation has finally been unveiled. Each Saturday, as ever, I love to give you a rundown. And who better to do that than royal biographer Angela Levin? She joins me now. Angela, nice to see you. Right, Angela, we miss you not being in the studio. But talk me through then, because Meghan says Catherine doesn't hug people, but there is Catherine hugging people, which is...
Yes, I actually wondered whether she was doing it to show that she could, because I think it's slightly unusual for you to really hug your former history teacher. I never hugged any of my teachers, however nice they were, but she also hugged a young woman who'd been on a polar expedition, and she gave her a huge hug too. But they were real monster hugs, ideal. But I think that she's now much more confident. She's got a new role. She's wife to the heir to the throne. And I think that she feels that she can get a bit looser in how she behaves.
She might be rubbing salt into the wound, hugging and going, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't seem to be that type of girl, because the teacher said she was absolutely ideal, wonderful, terrific to teach. And I suppose he's got a soft spot for her to know actually who is the wife of the heir to the throne. Well, I think she's a very kind person, but she won't stand for much nonsense against her children, or her husband, which is quite right. It's a lovely smile, but she's also tough inside, which she actually has to be.
Well, absolutely. And as you said, she's definitely growing into the role even more so. Now, what about this story about Harry? He wants, is it Sarah? He wants them to stop talking about him losing his virginity. I mean, he started it.
Yes. I mean, it's getting more and more ridiculous. He actually had the audacity to say he had no regrets about anything he put in the book or has said. Well, I mean, that's heartbreaking, actually, because he could have said, well, yes, I realise I might have hurt people, but that hasn't come into his vocabulary. To say that is really ghastly. And then to say that, he hopes it dies down, not to say, look, I understand that it might have been difficult to her, and I should have actually just warned her. She didn't do him any harm. In fact, she moved him from A to B, didn't she, really? I think he could have showed her a little courtesy. I mean, he was quite nasty about her in the book. But when you saw her talking, she looked that it was really hurtful, but she felt she had to talk about it. She was completely unpracticed at talking on television or radio, but she felt she should, because she wanted to clear the air about herself, and she seemed a very nice, straightforward person. So he could have actually apologized, but you see, nowadays there's no apology in his vocabulary. We've seen that with his father, his brother, his sister-in-law. There are no apologies. He wants them to apologize, but my goodness, you're not going to get him to say anything that was wrong.
Now, I just want to ask, is the woman's name Sasha, actually? Is it that Harry wants Sasha to stop talking about the thing?
No, I think Sasha he wants her to stop talking. Yeah, he wants it to die away. But she wanted to give her view, because she thought all her friends and acquaintances knew her. So she wanted it's best to sort of talk about it. She was very kind to him most of the time. There are a few little digs that, at his age, he didn't really know how to satisfy a woman, but otherwise it was quite nice. I think she just wanted to, she said she wants to go back and hide under a rock, which is awful, really, for her. Very unkind of him. And she's not out to get him. She's been quiet for 21 years. And I think it's the real shame that he couldn't just say, oh, well, I do feel a bit guilty about that. There's nothing in it. It's wiped out all that, the nice parts of Harry. And he's just a sort of bully, unkind, resentful person.
Well, I mean, obviously Harry's not here to defend himself, but he did put it out there, so it's very difficult to defend him. Even he's not defending himself. What about this thing then? Catherine and William, their huge wealth in Cornwall. I mean, that's obviously they're doing nicely.
Yeah, they went visiting Cornwall in their new role as Duke and Duchess of Cornwall, and it's automatic that when Charles became king, they would get the Duchy of Cornwall for them. Well, I think there's 53,000 hectares, and it's worth over £1 billion. And last year it earned £21 million. It's an area where there is farmland, homes, offices, all sorts of things. It's a little country in its own, I suppose. William has said that he wants to make a lot of homes for people who are homeless. And this is something he's got from his mother as a child. She took him there 2 or 3 times so that he didn't feel that he was so spoilt, that he could understand that people had a very tough time, and he's gone regularly ever since. So this would be a place where he could do something for homeless people, and I'm sure he will. But it's a lovely place. It's a lovely area, and they're going to go there a lot and try and do a lot for the people there and get to know them and be very friendly. But I think that money is an astonishing. I mean, 21 million a year, and it goes up every time. But he has given money to help people in Turkey, and I'm sure that it will enable him to be very generous in a charitable way.
I bet Harry and Meghan must be seething in their small Montecito mansion in comparison. And what about finally the emblem for the King's coronation? It's been revealed.
Yes, I think it's absolutely delightful. There's something about it that is quite dainty, but also powerful. It's got all the flowers of, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and England. And the crown inside is sort of cushioned by the red of the flowers outside. I think it's beautifully done and delicate. And we're going to see it, on anything that is about the coronation. And I think you won't tire of it. It's absolutely delightful.